Hi everyone, welcome to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. My name is Artem, and here is the news. For 977 days, Ukraine stands strong against the forces of the Russian invasion. Andriy Yermak, head of the Ukrainian president's office, said that in order to start negotiations with Russia, its troops should withdraw to their positions as of 24th of February 2022, reports Ukrainska Pravda. In an interview with the Italian publication Corriere della Sera, Yermak said that Volodymyr Zelensky never discussed territorial compromises, merely the need to respect internationally recognized borders. However, given the circumstances surrounding the Russian invasion, he was prepared to talk in 2022. Quote, Crimea and Donbass remain Ukrainian territory, and that is not negotiable. We oppose freezing the war. We want it to end, unquote, said the head of the president's office. Yermak also added that he did not care what the Russian ruler Vladimir Putin said regarding the need to take into account quote-unquote realities on the ground. He stressed that we cannot build up a peace proposal under the sway of people who longed for war. Yermak stressed that Ukraine will be prepared to hold an international conference when Kyiv feels powerful and has the support of the global south in negotiating with Russia. When asked if this meant the second peace summit was postponed until next year, Yermak replied, quote, We don't know. We'll do it when the conditions are appropriate and preferably as quickly as possible, unquote. When asked to comment on claims of corruption in Ukraine, the head of the president's office stated that the Russian Federation is attempting to destroy the image of Ukrainian authorities, while the front still holds despite corruption. Quote, Keep in mind that the front remains steadfast despite corruption. I believe the latter is ubiquitous among former Soviet Union countries. But if we were truly corrupt, how would we fight back, unquote, he said. Yermak also said that President Volodymyr Zelensky intends to hold elections immediately after the end of the war. According to Yermak, Zelensky wants all soldiers to be able to vote, as well as refugees abroad. He also said that the Ukrainian authorities are not afraid of Donald Trump's victory in the US elections in November, as he will not allow Russian ruler Vladimir Putin to win the war against Ukraine. Russian leader Vladimir Putin said that the Russian Defense Ministry is working on various ways to respond if the United States and its Western allies approve long-range strikes by Ukraine deep into Russian territory with Western weapons, reports NV. In September, Putin said Western approval of such a step would mean direct involvement of NATO countries in the war in Ukraine, as long-range strikes would involve the alliance's infrastructure. In this interview with Russian propagandist Pavel Zarubin, Putin said that it was still too early to say how Russia would react to such a decision, but he stressed Moscow would have to respond. He added that only NATO officers would be able to fire such weapons and that they would need to use Western satellite data for targeting. Only several weeks before the US presidential election, Putin changed Russia's nuclear doctrine to intimidate the West in response to discussions of allowing long-range strikes against Russia. The EU said that Putin's new nuclear threats would not change the EU's position on continuing to support Ukraine. We would really appreciate if you could recommend us to your friends and family, as well as share information on social media. This way more people would learn about the podcast and truth about Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Deep State, Ukrainian open-source intelligence initiative, informs that yesterday the Russian forces occupied the town of Hirnik, Kurakhivsk urban community, Pokrovsk district, Donetsk region, reports TSN. The advance of invaders was also recorded in Selidovo, Bogoyavlenka, Novoukrainka, near Shakhtarsky and Novoalexandrivka, Donetsk region. Before the full-scale invasion of the Russian military, more than 10,000 people lived in the city of Hirnik. In September 2018, a new television tower with the height of 190 meters, which is over 620 feet, was built there. This tower is the tallest built during the independence of Ukraine. It was intended to broadcast Ukrainian TV programs to the temporarily occupied territory of the Donetsk region. Thank you for listening to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast. We're a commercial initiative of just two people and we need your help to grow. Share information about the podcast, rate us in the app, subscribe to our Patreon. With your support, we're becoming better. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine.